2. Cajun. Referring to Acadians, the French-speaking people who migrated to South Louisiana from Nova Scotia in the 18th century, and their descendants. My mama, Claudine Dee Blanchard, was all about her culture. She was 100% born and bred French Cajun from a place called Golden Meadow in the great state of Louisiana. Golden Meadow is the southernmost incorporated area of Lafourche Parish, and you can list its local residents on the front and back of a sheet of loose-leaf paper. Mama loved Cajun cooking, which requires the holy trinity of ingredients: onions, bell peppers, and celery. Her birth surname was Petrie, which means clown in French. Some people confuse it and pronounce it Petri, as in the Petri dish, on which penicillin was first discovered. You don't need to listen too hard to notice a distinct dialect among those of Cajun descent who live in southern Louisiana. My mother couldn't pronounce the TH sound, so when she said, "Give me that," it sounded like, "Give me dat." In fact, she H dropped a lot. Shave off hair was shave off air. No matter how her words sounded, make no mistake, Claudine Blanchard always knew exactly what she was saying. I think when you love to tell stories, like she did, you learn early on to choose your words and their delivery with precision, the better to ensnare the listener. My mother's first big lie that I knew of was when she met my dad, Rod Blanchard, in 1990. Dad was 17 years old and already working as a trawler when he met my mom at the local bowling alley. I imagine my dad back in the day as a totally chill kid who got along with everyone, no matter what friend group he belonged to. He just wanted to have a good time, go see live bands, and didn't expect anything from anyone. Signing himself out of school early, my dad was a hard worker, still is. At the bowling alley, my mother introduced herself to him, telling him she was 21. Like in one of those 80s movies where some geeky freshman chases after the senior homecoming queen, Dad's boy brain thought he'd score with an older woman, one who had her own ride, a Ford Fiesta, and could legally buy him booze and be his designated driver. He just didn't know how much of an older woman she truly was. Mama was actually 23 years old. The question is, why would a woman in her 20s want an immature boy as a boyfriend? Knowing what I know now, I suspect she thought she could manipulate or control him in a way a man her age wouldn't allow. Or maybe her insecurity made her feel that a man her age wouldn't want her. She could have thought Dad was just hot. These things all could be true at the same time. So they started dating. Mama driving Dad to Biloxi to bar hop, going out to see hair bands in the NOLA club scene, frequenting the local dive bar hangout, the Greenhouse. Mama was really into music. When she was younger, she used to follow bands around. She claimed she was in a relationship with Jack Russell, the lead singer of the 80s hair band Great White. I was recently told by a friend of Mama's that they were both outside a concert venue waiting for the band to come out of the tour bus, and my mother managed to get a picture taken with Jack, which she framed and hung on her bedroom wall. She told anyone who saw it that Jack had mailed the photo to her because they were in a relationship, which was completely false. Mama also claimed she was a virgin before she met my dad. I'm not going to ask my dad his opinion on this, but I know that being a groupie and a virgin cannot be true at the same time. According to stories I've heard, Mama had a thing for lead singers and wanted to be their girlfriend. Sometimes she sent flowers to herself and told people they were from various rock stars. With lies she created lore. She was always telling stories. That was just Dee Dee. Was kneading together lies to bake a tasty story a learned behavior from her childhood? There are plenty of secrets in the Petrie family that no one talks about. I'm positive it's like that in most families. When you have a secret as big as the one my mother kept about her own father, Claude Petrie, who could blame her? My mother was the baby of 6 children. And get this, of the 6, half were named after their father, Claude. Claude Jr., Claudia, and Claudine. Narcissist much? Dee Dee, as Mama was called, had dreams of being a somebody. She often made it a point to remind me that she could have been that somebody if she hadn't given it all up to take care of me. By the time my mother was 12, she had gained a lot of weight. According to her, she blew up, and she tried to wrap her middle in cellophane to sweat off the fat. I can't help but think her eating disorders coincided with her gaining womanly body fat after getting her first period, and with trying to purge the secret of what happened when my grandfather insisted on joining her during baths. During her 11th and 12th grade years, Mama lost close to 200 pounds. Apparently, my grandmother Emma body-shamed Mama relentlessly, calling her fat. Mama began a very unhealthy diet and soon developed anorexia and bulimia. Her high school friend told me she remembers Mama eating only rice cakes for a whole year. Momsy Emma, as I called her, used to say her husband Claude was a man-whore, claiming he had a wandering eye. I don't know if Emma knew what Claude was doing to Dee Dee. Back then, who knows? When Mama was younger, Momsy used to keep her home from school all the time, telling her she was sick when she really wasn't. My mother told me she used to drink vinegar to make her skin snow white so she'd be more beautiful. And I guess it worked. In her senior year in 1986, Mama was South Lafourche High School's ROTC Queen. ROTC stands for Reserve Officers Training Corps. I never knew this track is for students who want to go to college to train to become Army officers. How Mama loved to talk about this momentous event. She made it seem that after that crowning, she had been entered into pageants all around the state, except that wasn't true. I have come to find out that she attended pageants out of the obligation of being the 1986 ROTC Queen. She had not been entered in any pageants after that. I feel sad for Mama now for wanting me to believe that one pageant was so much more than what it was. I think it was the only time in her youth when she felt truly special and pretty. She would tell me the same stories of her glory days over and over again, how celebrities hit on her on Bourbon Street, or how musicians put her name in their songs and in the liner notes of their albums. More kneading. Was she trying to get my adoration? My attention? Was she trying to make me jealous? I heard about how skinny she got, how pretty she got, and how people applauded her when she was a beauty queen. It almost seemed like she was trying to make me feel even smaller in my wheelchair, with no teeth, malnourished, androgynous, with no attractiveness at all, most of the time dressed as a boy. I'd think she used to have it all until I came along. I put her on a pedestal. I'd see pictures and think, wow, that was my mama. No wonder Claude loved her most. Maybe I didn't follow in Mama's footsteps as a beauty queen, but when it came to Claude, I would turn out to be his favorite, just like my mom had been. I don't know when Mama's dreams died, but by the time she met my father, she was drifting. She had tried. I remember her saying, the rest of his kids were fuck-ups, so I tried to do my mom proud by joining Junior ROTC and winning a beauty pageant. At the time, 23-year-old hospital worker Dee Dee approached my father in a bowling alley. She had never been in a serious relationship that I know of, had only completed 2 years of college, and wasn't in nursing school as she had intended.